Right, welcome back, and now the discussion begins right now. So, the recent killings of mostly young women in the country continue to send shockwaves. So, who is committing this barbaric and heinous act? What is the motive to the killings, and how can we put an end to these staggering statistics? These are questions we are asking tonight. Now, joining me in the discussion is Nyaguthii, Kioi, I hope I have got it right, coordinator of the World Feminist Network, and Faith Ken, that is Social Reproductive Health Rights, and of course Faith Foundation Kenya. Well, ladies, thank you so much for making time. I know this particular discussion comes at a time when, many are asked, why should we have this discussion in the first place? Because life itself is so sacred, and we shouldn't be talking about, statistics of women, young women, of course, who have fallen victim of barbaric act. And I'll begin with you, Faith. How will you characterize, being a woman in Kenya?
Okay, for me, I think it's just a sad thing right now to be a woman in Kenya, because you're coming from a nation where you have to prove why you don't have to die. Like, I have to give you a reason why I should be alive. You see? And this is a nation where I'm being questioned. I'm the victim here, but still you want to question me for going through what I went through. So it's not a safe space for me. Even moving around right now in Kenya, it's totally hard, because my freedom is limited in a way. Previously, I would go out, I would walk freely, but right now as a woman, I'm limited, because you don't know where your death will come from. Everyone is a suspect right now. All the places that used to be our playgrounds, they've been now very small, tiny places for us. And I feel so bad, because even the leaders who are supposed to speak for us are silent at the face of some femicide. These are the leaders that we entrusted with these positions. They should be the ones shouting on rooftops. But you see, nothing has been done. And each day, as time goes by, you see a new day, a new case. A woman being killed, a young girl, and the whole society are trying to defend the perpetrators in a way. So as a woman in Kenya, I feel so sad, and I really feel like I don't belong. I feel like I can't breathe, because the air is not really conducive for me, and I'm not also favored. Yeah. All
right. Well, to you, Nyaguthii, do you feel, unsafe to live in Kenya?
I do feel unsafe. I do feel terrified. I do feel tired also, because on top of constantly thinking about my safety or lack thereof, I'm also carrying so much trauma from each of the cases that I see every day, because it's so hard to see a fellow sister has been murdered and that doesn't do anything to you, right? So one, you're worried about your life, but you're also carrying so much trauma within you that you don't know what to do. It's just such a horrible place to be at. And even in the conversations that I've been having with other women, truly, it's so sad for me to say, but the safest place to be as a woman is to really just not be, to not exist, because you're not safe in your home, you're not safe outside your home, you're not safe anywhere. You're not safe in church, you're not safe in the club, you're not safe on the street. Like, the easiest thing is to actually just not exist. That's the only way you're guaranteed nothing will happen to you. So it's a horrible place to be in. I'm scared, I'm terrified, I'm tired, I'm sad. It's a lot. Yeah.
It must really be a lot.
It is.
Okay. Now, talk to me about, we have talked about the statistics, and we have seen how the staggering numbers are. And there might be fears that there might be a lot of cases that some are even maybe underreported or even unreported. Well, every day when you wake up to the new, news that maybe today we've lost another person because of this, barbaric act. So it is one case too many. How would you describe, this act of mysterious death that you're seeing in the country? What is going on? What are we not doing right as a society?
Well, first, I wouldn't say it's mysterious death
Mhm.
because we know what is happening.
Mhm.
Women are under attack, women are being killed left, right, and center.
Mhm.
Let's just be very honest about this conversation. There's nothing mysterious about it. Secondly, the question was, what are we not doing right?
Sure.
One, I think, is having very open and honest conversations about it. As uncomfortable as it may be, as painful as it may be, we really need to talk about it. We need to hold our government accountable. They have the mandate to protect us. It's their responsibility to protect us. They're not doing it. Our judicial system is not doing it. Our politicians, our leaders, they're not doing it. We've been left alone. We need to have conversations about it. But even beyond looking towards the state, even as a community, what are we doing about it? Are you having conversations with your friends about it? Especially as a man, I really, really call to every man to start having conversations. How are we treating women? Because I feel like we've really normalized violence against women, even before we get to femicide, because femicide is just what happens after. It starts with violence in different various forms, right? And then it escalates to femicide. Are we having conversations about how we are in relationships? Are we having conversation when you're at the club with your boys and they're catcalling women, or a woman passes by and they spank her without her consent? Are you having conversations about that? As women, are we having conversations about how our husbands are treating us? Are we suffering in silence? I understand also why women can be silent when experiencing violence, and that's a whole other thing. But we need to start having conversations about it at the individual level, at the family level, as a community, as a society. We need to start talking about it. I think this January, personally, I've seen more than 10 cases of femicide already. And when you go to social media, it's a joke. Like, people are memes about how these women were killed, the reasons why they were killed. How can we have a conversation about ending femicide when it's a joke, when it's entertainment?
Okay.
Even how the media portrays these cases, it's a joke. There's no dignity in how the media is reporting. And so
let me get Faith's account on this. Nyaguthii talks about, a lot of combined efforts from the government, the community, the boys, the security agency. But what does it say about our society? Because when you look at these cases, especially now when you come to the real perpetrators, we have seen that according to the statistics that we have just seen, majority of these, let's say, are mostly, committed in some sort of, a marriage, some sort of setup. Husbands, they lead majority of these cases. So does it trickle down now to the moral and the ethics of, the community? Should it come to, the partner, some sort of partner relationship? Before you commit, you must first of all know your partner before you move to another step. What does it say about our culture as a society?
Okay, first, just to take you back, I'd like to define femicide according to me. This is intentional killing.
Okay.
This is honor killing. The reason why I talk about honor, look at the case of 2016. Was it 2016 or 2017? The case of Sharon. The lady who was allegedly killed by Obado. What happened to Obado? 7 years later, Obado is the chairperson of UDA Nyanza region. But there's a person who was a pending case in court, you see? So when you talk about society, what is a society? Society are the people, society are the government. So if our government are awarding people who have cases of murder, you see, what will happen to people like John Matara? What will happen? How many Mataras are out here? If you go to Matara's story, previously the ladies who reported, nothing was done. And now that trickles down to even family setup. A woman reports she's in a domestic, the marriage is violent. And the family, they wait until they can see the violence in you, is when they start acting. When you say that, what happens to this, the families, family like Scarlett Wahu, what happened to their family? Nobody talked about it. I'm so sure after, if not for Rita Waeni's case, we would have left things the way they were at Scarlett's death. So it's our society. We act out of emotions, but not intentionality.
Mhm.
So in a case where someone has been killed, during that moment, everyone is on that case.
Mhm.
And then the moment that air goes down, we are back to silence. What are we doing as a society? Someone comes to me and tells me I'm in a violent relationship. At that time, I'm acting out of emotions.
Mhm.
Can I arrest that man? The justice system in Kenya, you'll go up following the police for 2 days, then your emotions are now cool, you see? And nothing is to be done. So
Mhm.
society already, they are adamant to change. Our society has refused to change. They're not changing.
Okay.
Because we are talking of an empowered society and still carrying the patriarchy that we were taught before, you see? So we are talking about a society where women knows their right, but in the same time, men have refused to adapt to the changes that are now in the society. We're talking about 50-50 paying of bills. At the same time, we are talking about submission. What do we want as a society? You see?
Okay.
So it's an imbalanced society. And all the cases when talking about GBV in marriages, GBV even in relationships, we can't question morals. There are people who are married for 10 years but still don't know their what? Their partners.
Mhm.
At 20 years old, when you were 20 years old, did you even know yourself? I'm 22 right now. I'm still discovering my hobbies. I still don't know them fully.
Mhm.
This is a student at 20 years, you are telling to already stop. Where did you meet your wives? You didn't know them. And just because you met a good person, you held your legs tightly until you were married, this person didn't kill you.
All
There are
right.
people who meet people, after 10 years, they kill them later. So we can't be talking about moral in the case of death.
All right.
Let death be death. Let us talk about death without victim blaming. You see? I had some news houses recently when Scarlett was dead. The description they were giving, like Machara is seen in a blue t-shirt and a brown trouser. Then when it comes to Scarlett, the victim, this person says Scarlett is seen in a short red dress. There's a question of morality. A short red dress. You see, already you're putting the victim of a spotlight. Where are we bringing morals in a case where it's death? You see, as a woman, it shouldn't be now that I'm unsafe. You start questioning, where did I go to? Where did I meet on the apps? I mean, it's advancing. I can't go now meeting people in churches. I can as well use my Instagram and meet you there. It doesn't mean though that if I log into my Instagram, you'll kill me.
All right.
Instead of telling ladies to take care, why don't you tell men to stop using them for money? You're
Okay.
telling ladies that they're after money. You are killing me to sell my head to get money. So it's
All right.
the same thing. Yeah,
Fair
it's
enough,
just the
fair
same
enough.
thing.
Now, you've talked about, the drawn-out nature of proceedings. The time that, when you report about these cases of gender-based violence, domestic violence, the drawn-out nature of proceeding, it's something that many people say that to some have, some extent discouraged them of pursuing justice. How would you say about, the justice system in Kenya? Are our women really protected when it comes to quest for justice?
I do agree that it takes too long to get justice. It's a very isolating process. It's a very long process. It's a very tiring process. And I really understand survivors who choose not to pursue justice through the judicial process because you've already suffered so much trauma from what you experienced. And the court process is re-traumatizing. It's supposed to be giving you justice, but it ends up traumatizing you even further. So I truly understand it. Do I wish it could be different? Yes. Do I wish we could put in mechanisms that make the judicial process easier for survivors, more centered on survivors? I really do wish, because I think we really need to pursue legal measures, and we really need to see something done to perpetrators. But I'm not ever gonna judge someone who chooses not to pursue through the judicial process because I've seen it, and honestly, I sympathize with them. Actually, I really sympathize with them. So I understand survivors who don't pursue it. And that says we need to do something about the judicial process. We need to make it more centered on survivors. How do we do this? Those are conversations we need to be having. But please allow me to say something on what Faith said about morality. I think when you bring morality into this conversation, it creates a very dangerous precedent, because morality is the reason why we don't have data on femicide against sex workers. We don't have data on femicide against queer people. They're being murdered. Sex workers, their deaths mean nothing. Queer people are killed, their deaths mean nothing. So when we're talking about femicide, for us, it does include queer people, it does include sex workers. And so when you bring the conversation of morality, because this is an example, I personally don't believe in sex work, or I personally think queer people should not exist, then because of my moral compass, I will do nothing when they are killed, regardless of what you believe, regardless of your morals. Everyone deserves the right to life. Everyone deserves the right to protection, to safety. So morality is a very, very dangerous slope you're taking us on. Yeah.
All right. So what do you have to say about the justice system in Kenya, especially the drawn-out nature of proceedings that many cases take before the victim can actually get the justice that they deserve?
I really wanted to say something, but I feel I will sound political. But I'll just say it.
All right.
Everything in Kenya is wrong. Because tell me why women are being killed and the first and the second ladies are quiet. Tell me why women are being killed and you are warding the killers. Tell me why women are being killed and nothing is being done. So justice system is delayed. If we really had a proper legal measures taken to perpetrators, we would have reduced the cases of murder in this country. And I feel mob justice serves well than the actual justice.
But it's a case of, innocent until proven guilty. You just can't.
Where does innocence end? When does it end? Because you can't be proving innocence for more than 7 years, for almost 10 years. You keep on pushing court cases. You're still trying to prove, you see, that someone is guilty for more than 10 years. When does innocence end? So why are you walking freely, yet you have a case tagged along with you? How many of you are out here? If one of you is not inside, you are out with a bond, you're pushing your cases on. Don't you feel that these people can form even a more powerful gang to even overthrow the government, leave alone killing women? So
I think even like deviating from that conversation and focusing on the actual women who've been killed and the cases that are ongoing, what she's saying is true. 7 years is a bit long. I can't stand and say he's guilty or he's not guilty. I really don't know. But 7 years is too long to be waiting on a case to proceed.
All right.
Ivy Wangeshi's case was concluded this January. It's been 5 years.
All right.
What do you think the family is going through? Let me tell you, court process will hold you in limbo. Things are going on in your life, but you're stuck in that moment, waiting for justice. And I feel like some cases are only getting the proper process by the police and by the courts because of pressure. We can't be pushing every day for our murders to be taken seriously. It should just be the process that once a woman has been killed, which you shouldn't get to that point, but if there's a case, the police should act upon it thoroughly, immediately. Why do we have to pressure people to do their jobs? Why must we beg for cases to proceed?
Good question. Because we are running out of time now, I'll give you, this as your closing remark, and this is the time for you to actually talk to us about this planned peaceful demonstration. So what's the plan?
It is a peaceful protest. And I hope it stays that way. Our government and police have different agendas when we've protested before, but I hope it stays peaceful. We have protests through the End Femicide KE movement, and this is a movement that is comprised of so many different women and women's rights organizations who have come together to say we must unite and say this is a national crisis and it needs to be seen as a crisis. It needs the urgent response that we are asking for. It's not something we can take lightly again. There has been a total the campaign is under End Femicide Kenya and Total Shutdown Kenya. This isn't the first time there's a protest about femicide. There was one a few years ago, but we're doing it again because nothing is changing. If anything, it's becoming worse. So the protests are on Saturday across the country. and tomorrow there's one in Nyeri. So please follow End Femicide KE and Total Shutdown, and you'll get more details on the protest. But then Nyeri County, Nairobi County, Nyeri County is tomorrow, then the rest are on Saturday, 27th January. So we have Nairobi, we have Nakuru, Busia, Kisumu,
All the counties.
Eldoret, yes, all the counties. And if you follow that hashtag, you'll get more information.
All right. And you, Faith, your closing remarks?
I'll ask you, is your man matching with us?
Mm-hmm.
Can your man stand with you when you're being killed? On 27th, call everybody. We are marching. And for the government, we are waiting for you. It's a peaceful thing. If you decide to make it not peaceful, we will also go that way, because it means that is the language they understand. But on the 27th, we are out, we are marching for justice, we are marching for women's rights, we are marching for safety, we are marching for the current and marching for the future. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's really so sad that we have to beg to be protected, that we have to beg to be human beings.
All right, all right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for making time. I wish we could have more time to have this, very important discussion, but you'll have to bear with us. Time has cut it short. And of course, that is where we end our very, very emotional discussion, but at the same time, very necessary one, because it's all about life, and life matters. And that is the general message here that we are having. Well, with